Oh my, did the Cowboys just flip their entire coaching direction overnight? Major staff changes are suddenly on the table, interviews are heating up, and insiders say this could be the biggest behind-the-scenes shift Dallas has made in years. Some fans see this as a long overdue reset that finally modernizes the staff, while others worry constant change only creates more chaos. Who's coming in, who might be on the way out, and why is this all happening right now? One name quietly involved in these interviews could completely change how the Cowboys operate moving forward. Oh my, this one is big. Cowboys Nation, you need to sit down for this because the Dallas Cowboys just got hit with a wave of coaching news, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this could quietly shape the future of this franchise way more than any flashy free agent signing. We're talking major staff changes, internal shakeups, interviews happening behind closed doors, and some very interesting signals about where this team is actually headed. Some fans are excited, some are confused, and some are straight up nervous, and honestly, all of those reactions make sense right now. Because when you really look at what's happening, this isn't just about one coach or one position. This feels like the Cowboys are reworking the DNA of their coaching staff. And whether that ends up being a genius long-term move or another classic Cowboys almost moment, that's the million-dollar question. Let's start with the big picture. Anytime the Cowboys start making multiple coaching moves at once, it tells you something important. The organization knows change is needed. You don't bring in interviews, you don't reshuffle responsibilities, and you don't quietly move pieces around unless you believe the status quo is no longer good enough. And after how last season ended, nobody inside that building can honestly say everything was fine. The season didn't end the way anyone wanted. Again. And while players always take heat, quarterbacks, star receivers, defensive playmakers, the front office knows coaching decisions are just as responsible. Play calling, preparation, adjustments, in-game management, player development. All of that falls on the coaching staff, and Dallas is clearly taking a hard look at who's responsible for what. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Some of these changes aren't loud. They're not press conference level announcements. They're subtle. But subtle moves often matter the most. We're seeing staff interviews pop up, names connected to new roles, and behind-the-scenes evaluations that suggest the Cowboys are not just reacting, they're planning. One of the biggest talking points right now is interviews. When a team starts interviewing coaches, whether for coordinator roles, positional jobs, or even analyst positions, it's a signal that they're either preparing for departures or looking to upgrade. And in Dallas' case, it might be both. There's a real sense that the Cowboys are trying to modernize certain aspects of their coaching philosophy. Football is changing fast. Offenses are evolving. Defenses are getting more complex. Teams that don't adapt get left behind. And Cowboys fans have watched other franchises pass them by with innovative schemes and aggressive coaching decisions. So when you hear about new interviews, new voices being brought into the conversation, it's not random. It's deliberate. Dallas wants fresh ideas in the room. They want coaches who understand today's NFL, not the NFL from 5 or 10 years ago. At the same time, this creates tension. Because bringing in new staff often means someone else is on the way out. And that's where things can get uncomfortable. Some coaches are well liked. Some have been with the team for years. Some have strong relationships with players. But loyalty only goes so far in the NFL. Performance always wins in the end. And speaking of performance, let's talk about accountability. One thing Cowboys fans have been begging for is accountability at the coaching level. Not just blaming players. Not just talking about execution. Actual accountability. When a unit underperforms repeatedly, changes need to happen. Period. This coaching news suggests the Cowboys are at least attempting to address that. Whether they follow through fully is another story, but the intent is there. You don't interview replacements unless you're seriously evaluating current staff members. Another angle here that can't be ignored is the head coach's influence. Any major staff change ultimately reflects on the head coach. Either he's pushing for changes, or ownership is pushing them on him. And in Dallas, we all know how powerful the front office is. There's always this balancing act in Dallas between coaching autonomy and front office control. When staff changes start stacking up, you have to ask, who's really calling the shots? Is this a head coach reshaping his staff to fit his vision? Or is this the organization stepping in and saying, this isn't working? We need adjustments? That question matters because it affects stability. Players feel it. Coaches feel it. And fans definitely feel it. A clear vision leads to consistency. Mixed signals lead to confusion. Now let's talk about one of the most talked about possibilities, scheme changes. Coaching staff changes almost always bring scheme adjustments with them. Maybe not full overhauls, but tweaks that can dramatically change how players are used. On offense, fans have been frustrated with predictability. Too many moments where it felt like defenses knew what was coming. That's not just on players, that's coaching. Route concepts, motion, play design, situational play calling. Those are all areas where fresh voices can help. On defense, while there have been flashes of dominance, there have also been moments where adjustments didn't come fast enough. Elite teams adjust on the fly. That's a coaching trait. And when Dallas struggled against certain looks, fans noticed a lack of counterpunches. So when new staff members are interviewed, you have to wonder, are they being brought in to challenge existing philosophies? Are they there to add wrinkles? Or are they there as potential replacements if things don't improve quickly? Another layer to all of this is player development. This is huge. Dallas drafts well, that's not really debatable. But developing talent into consistent, high-level contributors is where coaching matters most. If young players plateau, that's a red flag. And coaching changes often come when development isn't happening the way it should. Some of these staff interviews are likely focused on development specialists, coaches known for maximizing player potential. That's not glamorous news, but it's championship-level thinking. Now let's talk about timing. The timing of these moves is critical. This isn't panic. This isn't mid-season chaos. This is calculated off-season evaluation. That's a good sign. It means the Cowboys are thinking ahead, not just reacting emotionally to a playoff loss. However, and this is important, timing also means expectations are rising. When you change staff, you're essentially saying, we expect better results. That puts pressure on everyone. Coaches, players, even the front office. There are no more excuses. Another interesting detail is how quiet some of this has been. Dallas usually isn't subtle. But this time, it feels more controlled. Less noise. More business. That could mean they're trying to avoid leaks. Or it could mean they're being more strategic about messaging. Either way, fans are reading between the lines. And what fans are seeing is a team that knows it's close but not close enough. Let's be real for a second. The Cowboys are not rebuilding. This is not a teardown. This is a team that believes it can win now. Coaching changes in a win-now window are risky but necessary. You don't have time for long learning curves. Whoever comes in has to make an impact immediately. That's why these interviews matter so much. These aren't just resumes being reviewed. These are conversations about philosophy, leadership, and adaptability. Dallas is essentially asking, can you help us win a Super Bowl right now? And that's a heavy question. Another thing fans should pay attention to is how players react. When players start talking about accountability, clarity, or new energy, those words usually connect back to coaching. Listen carefully to player interviews this offseason. You'll hear clues about what's changing. Some players thrive under change. Others struggle. Managing that dynamic is part of coaching too. And that's why the right hires matter more than the number of hires. One wrong hire can set a team back years. One great hire can unlock an entire roster. Now, let's talk about expectations from the fanbase. Cowboys fans are tired. Not tired of winning seasons, tired of falling short. Coaching has been a constant talking point in every playoff exit. Whether it's game management, preparation, or adjustments, coaching always ends up under the microscope. This wave of coaching news raises hope but also skepticism. Fans have seen changes before. They've heard promises before. So now the standard is simple: results. If these staff changes lead to smarter play calling, better situational football, and stronger finishes in big games, fans will buy in quickly. If not, the frustration will explode. And make no mistake, the margin for error is shrinking. Every year without a deep playoff run increases pressure. Not just on players, but on coaches and executives. These moves feel like an acknowledgement of that reality. There's also the long-term angle. Some of these interviews could be about future-proofing the staff. Bringing in younger coaches. Innovative thinkers. People who can grow into bigger roles. That's how strong organizations operate. They plan for continuity, not just survival. And continuity has been a challenge in Dallas. Finding the right balance between stability and innovation is hard. But it's necessary if this team wants to break through. So where does all of this leave us? It leaves us in a moment of cautious optimism. The Cowboys are clearly not standing still. They're evaluating. They're interviewing. They're making moves that suggest self-awareness. But awareness alone doesn't win championships. Execution does. The next few weeks are going to be huge. Watch who gets hired. Watch who doesn't return. Watch how roles are defined. Those details will tell us whether this is cosmetic change or real transformation. Because this isn't just coaching news. This is a statement. A statement that the Cowboys know something has to change. A statement that last season wasn't acceptable. A statement that they believe this roster deserves better direction. Now the pressure is on. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want non-stop Cowboys news, updates, and real talk all off-season long, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. We've got more big Cowboys news coming, and trust me, this is only the beginning.